So about a year ago, there was a revolution. My friends sparked and nurtured a revolt in the southern states of a desert-spanning empire. Over the course of a month, they battled with soldiers, assassins, and vicious wyverns, eventually evicting the imperial overseers and rallying the populace of the bedraggled city behind them. Of course, the city, the empire, and the revolt were imaginary, facets of our weekly game of Dungeons & Dragons. While my friends each played individual characters, from highborn knights to conniving rogues, my role was different. I was the game master, the storyteller. I was responsible for designing the world that they explored, creating everything from the culture to the geography to the monsters. I also designed the general story and occasionally guided the players towards interesting encounters. Mostly, though, I asked questions. I wondered about how the Empire would react to this brewing revolt when it was forced to deal with the vicious sandstorms that scour its territory and make mobilizing any force a challenge, or how the enigmatic and shape-shifting king in the south would view this political development, or even how the common people of the land would see the players' band of revolutionaries. You see, Dungeons & Dragons is part of a large group of games generally referred to as collaborative storytelling. Sure, there's dice involved, and fireballs, and magic swords, but at its core, the game is about getting together with a group of friends and telling a tale for the ages. There's a couple considerations that make this easier said than done, though. The first is the issue of player agency. An artist or a film producer has complete control over their artistic vision. A game master does not. Using your position as game master to force a story onto the players is called railroading, and it's one of the cardinal sins of running a game. While shuttling the players from one location to another can occasionally lead to an interesting story, it almost invariably winds up being the worst thing that a game can be. Not any fun. Nobody sits down to play a game like Dungeons & Dragons to be told what's happening to their characters. They play to be those characters and to have an impact on the world. Which means that a game master has to be ready for things to go dramatically off script. Maybe the players decide that the person who is about to reveal the location of an ancient artifact is actually an evil spy and attack him on sight. Maybe they decide to antagonize a vicious crime lord because she has a funny name. And maybe they decide that really they've never been interested in saving the world and they'd rather be pirates. So you see, there can be a difference between the story that the game master wants to tell and the story that the players want to be a part of. And while conceding authority over your story can be difficult, it's one of the key components of running a successful game. The other consideration is the issue of embodiment. While each group does it to different degrees, one of the core premises of games like Dungeons & Dragons is that the players adopt the personas of their characters. You can see this in how people talk during the game. Very rarely will someone say, "My character attacks the dragon." They'll say, "I attack the dragon." And this can bind up the real and imagined worlds in ways that can have significant impact on storytelling. As much as the story is about the decisions of the characters in the fictional world, it is also by definition about the decisions of the real people around the table. If you've done your job well as game master, the players will be invested in the world and its inhabitants. They'll hesitate when you present them with a moral dilemma, bristle when a villain makes her entrance, and cry out when death claims a friend. They'll carry oaths, vendettas, hopes, and desires with them throughout a campaign. Ending a game can often be emotional. It's likely the culmination of hours of investment across a span of years. And games can also touch on topics like oppression or the horrors of war. It's easy to see how, if handled improperly or insensitively, this could be uncomfortable. And this, again, is where the two goals of a game master can come into conflict. On the one hand, stories are more interesting and I think worthwhile when they deal with meaningful themes and involve hard choices. But on the other hand, putting a group of players through those experiences is fundamentally different from, say, writing about them. Just because I'm okay creating something does not mean that my friends are going to be okay playing through it. It's vital that everyone, game master and players, are on the same page about what they want out of the story and the game. Now I want to close by emphasizing the fact that no two groups are alike, and there's no wrong way to play a game like Dungeons & Dragons. Sometimes you just want to sit down and kill some monsters, and that's okay. Not every game can be or should be some grand treatise. But for those who are willing to work past and with its novel characteristics, collaborative storytelling can be a medium worth exploring. Thank you.